Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm glad you're here. Today we're going to be filming another Reddit scary stories video. If you guys didn't already know, I do have a playlist on my channel of all the Reddit videos I filmed. Let's read some spooky, paranormal, ghost stories. When I was 3, my family had just moved into a new house, and I mean brand spanking new. We were the first people on our street to move in, and they didn't finish building all the houses until a few weeks after we moved in. Anyway, here's my story. One night when I was about 4 and a half, for some reason I woke up in the middle of the night. This was around the age where I was sure if I thought long and hard enough that I could get x-ray vision like Superman. And whenever I'd wake up in the middle of the night, that's what I'd try to do. That's cute. I'd sit there in bed for 10 to 15 minutes trying really hard to see through walls, or my dresser, or even just the back of my hand, before eventually giving up and just going back to sleep. This particular night wasn't any different from any other. I woke up, saw the Toronto Blue Jays clock on my wall, saw it was around 1 a.m., and went to work trying to see through the back of my hand. About 5 minutes into my routine, I never did get x-ray vision, in case you were wondering. Glad they cleared that up. I was seriously wondering. I heard what sounded like a whisper. I thought maybe it was my sister, who was just a year older and in the next room, so I kept on trying my best to see through something until I heard a man call my name, and I just about pissed myself. I sat there frozen in fear. I didn't know who it was. My father at the time worked the night shift and didn't get home until 4 a.m. night most days. I'm a really horrible storyteller. Me too. I'm a really horrible storyteller, so I don't know how to rightly express just how terrified I was at what happened next, or to really express what was running through my mind. But the voice laughed at me and said it was going to get me, and then silence for the next 5 seconds until I screamed bloody murder. I woke everyone in the house up. My mother ran into my room and asked me what was wrong, but I was hysterically crying hysterically. She sat with me for what must have been close to half an hour until I calmed down and was able to tell her what happened. I asked if it was Dad and why he would be playing such a mean joke on me, but she said he was still at work and that I must have been dreaming. The thing about the whole ordeal, about how terrified I was, is that I never again felt comfortable in the house. I never again slept with my door closed, and at least once a week for years, I would wake up and just yell for my mother because something didn't feel right. It turned me from a self-assured child into a child that was afraid of everything. To this day, I'm not sure if it was my father or not. My mother said it wasn't, but the house was brand new. The land it was built on used to be a farmland, and there was nothing else on the land but massive fields of crops. My parents still live in that house, and nothing like that voice ever happened again, but the room that was mine still creeps me out if I'm over there at night. I don't know what it was. He said he was 3 years old and trying to get x-ray vision is so relatable. Except my little thing as a child was probably telekinesis. Yeah, that was my thing. Sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, I'm like, what if? The creepiest moment by far would be when my family moved into a small apartment after my parents decided to get a divorce. I was 18 and I shared a room with my mother. I let her have the twin bed while I slept on the floor. Every day while in the shower, I heard a voice call to me saying, "Come on, my name. Let's go out and play. Come on, get me." It sounded like a child, either 5 or 6 years old, was bouncing around in the bathroom, his voice echoing. I always ignored it. After a few days, I told my mother about it. We're a Catholic family, and it took us a while to find our holy water, but we blessed the apartment. That night, as I lay on the thin mat on the floor, I felt a weight step onto it. My mother was asleep, my brother was in his room, and my dog was in his kennel. It couldn't have been them. I was scared and pushed at it with my feet only to touch air. I felt movement, like a wind, and it stayed in front of me. I turned onto my side, and I felt the presence crouched down, knees bent and resting on the balls of his feet. A freezing cold air brushed our face, and with a sigh it said, "Goodbye," and left. I was terrified and never opened my eyes. I hope I don't have any ghosts in my new place. I did tell you guys about this. I commented it. Every night I hear creaking upstairs. We only have 2 floors. Around like 4, 3 a.m. walking almost. It's either a ghost or animal or it's not my problem after I leave. I've had a few strange and creepy experiences growing up. The creepiest by far, though, was when I was in high school. It was summer and my mother had left her laptop home for me to use to pass the time during the day, since she had left me no chores that day. Our house, an old two-story building that was built in the late 1800s, early 1900s. It has hardwood floors throughout the first floor and carpeted on the second. Because of the age of the building and the fact that the second story was a later addition, no matter where you are upstairs, you can hear and often feel when someone is walking around downstairs. If you have ever lived in an old house with hardwood floors, you understand what I'm talking about. So one evening, I was laying out on the floor in my room whilst I used the computer. AIM was a must given the fact that it was the turn of the millennium and MSN hadn't figured out that the whole Mac/Microsoft bridge yet. I remember hearing my stepdad drive into the driveway at the back of the house. Hopping to my feet, I looked through the navy blue curtains and could see the red hue of his burgundy Chevy Denali in the driveway. I immediately laid back down and told my friend that I had to log off. Stepfather was home and was going to be pissed that I was using my mother's computer, even though it was with permission. Around this point, I heard him set the alarm on his car, walk up the porch stairs, fumble with his keys, and lumber to the den where he heavily dropped his stuff. I cursed under my breath and hastily logged off. Gathering up the computer, I slinked my way to the stairwell, ready to take my licks. However, when I got to the stairwell, I noticed all the lights were off downstairs still. I thought that's fine, sometimes he doesn't turn on the lights, it's his house, he knows where the stuff is. So I forced a nervous chuckle and head down the rest of the stairs into the darkness of the first floor. Sorry about using her laptop. She said I could. Silence greeted my words. Odd, I thought. Usually he chides me or otherwise takes me down a notch. Thinking he is in the bathroom, I set the laptop on the couch in the den and began to leave. It was then, as my eyes finished adjusting to the light, that I noticed it. His things were not where I had thought they would be. My heart skips a beat, and my eyes fly to the window that looks into our backyard and driveway. The light is on, but there is no Denali. Fearing a burglar, I rushed to the back door, only to find it locked securely. Too afraid to do anything else, I grabbed the cordless phone and hightailed it to my room, locking myself in. This is where the experience was taken to a new level. Sitting in my room, panting and shaking as I held the phone, I could hear and feel as multiple people were walking around in the hardwood floor. Some people even felt like they were stomping. Realizing that I may not be alone, I thought of the only thing a crazed teenage girl could think of. I called my friends across the street. The first friend, I figured she would never answer. I was used to her busy signal, but I had to try. Punching in the number quickly, I brought the phone to my ear and waited. Dial tone, 3-ring, voicemail. Dialed up the second friend. I felt I had a chance. She was never on the phone. Busy signal. Sure, the third friend, the one I was talking to online, would answer. Busy signal, dial up, FML. So I'm sitting there listening to the footsteps and the dial tone as I'm trying to figure out if I should try the first friend again. Static crackled through the dial tone and broke my thoughts as I stared at it. Almost immediately, the static shifted from a crackle to laughter, and I straight up opened my door and chucked the phone down the hall. The footsteps got louder, and I tried to think out a resolution to the problem. I needed the third friend off the internet. I needed someone to validate that I wasn't going crazy and hearing things. But the only way to get her offline would be to go to the computer from the first floor. Swallowing hard, I threw open the bedroom door and made a dash for the computer. I grabbed the computer and rushed back upstairs. While I was down there, I could hear the footsteps in the other rooms, other than the one I was in. Rushing back into my room, I hopped back online and forced my friend to get off the internet so I could call her. Retrieving the phone from the hallway, I relocked myself in and dialed her up. Eventually stopped and then seemed to start back up again. Only lights were turning on. Inching down, I realized it was my mother and told the friend I would talk to her later. After a little talk with my mother, I found out that she had been home for about 5 minutes. This had all started at about 7 p.m. Even my mother had been way off and arrived 15 minutes before. That would still leave me with 15 minutes of unexplained phenomena. I took a lot of breath. I hope you guys got some spooked. Hopefully more than me, because the point of these stories is to spook you guys out. Don't let any ghosts tug at your blankets or get you tonight. Good luck. I will see you guys next time. Peace out. Hey, I'm sorry for dreaming about the future. I'm so sorry. I know I shouldn't be scared, you guys, but it's fun. Don't worry, nothing's gonna get you.